the kneeling during the national anthem. Obviously, that became literally a political football.
Yep.
How do you think this is going to play out based on your reporting and what you know for the 2018 season?
Well, it's going to be interesting to see what the owners do at the winter meetings in March. Jerry Jones this fall, again, was at the forefront of this issue. He pushed hard for there to be a league-wide ban on any players kneeling during the national anthem. That didn't get much traction with folks back in October at the league meetings at the Conrad Hotel in Lower Manhattan. I think there's going to be renewed discussions about this in March, though I don't think there's going to be enough owners that are going to want to mandate it because it can backfire. It can backfire very easily and very quickly. They're in a bind. They're in a tough spot. I think the fact that the owners have basically reached out and tried to have an honest, open dialogue with players and the Players Coalition and to try to put a big amount of money into these causes that they want. The sign there, Rich, is with a little bit of a wink and a nod of a quid pro quo. Like if we give you the NFL platform to help on these criminal justice issues and really try to make a change, as well as put money to the causes that you want, hopefully that will be enough for players no longer to take a knee during the national anthem. I think if you asked owners behind a closed door, they would tell you that's the result they think is best for the business and for the game. But if you talk to players, they're not willing to necessarily give up a constitutional right to kneel and to protest just for a paycheck.
And I talk to fans, okay, and there are fans who call this show who have served militarily or as a first responder who say it's the player's right to do that. And I have some who are on the I don't want to say side, okay, but there are those who say that the players should stand up, okay, that this is not the time to utilize
their employees
as a platform.
Right, their employees.
But all that said, there is the narrative that's out there that this issue that we are discussing right now, Don Van Natta, senior investigative reporter of ESPN, is the root cause for the lack of ratings spikes, that the ratings are down. And part of the, I saw, I don't know what his name is, some conservative talk show host put a photograph of the Browns' home game this past weekend and said this is what liberalism does, okay? And
no mention of the 0-13 record.
Well, 0-14.
0-14.
Right, exactly. But you see what I'm saying is that this is being used, or is it an accurate portrayal based on what you are seeing about the ratings in the NFL, Don?
I don't think it's the main cause. I really don't. I think that the controversy hasn't helped. Already we saw a softening in ratings last year. It was chalked up by some folks in the league office to the presidential campaign, and because, of course, the ratings went up somewhat in the second half of last year.
Well, I do remember there was a Sunday night game and a Monday night game, and one involving Aaron Rodgers and Eli Manning, another involving Breeze and Ryan in a league where, obviously first-string top-flight quarterbacks are becoming rarer and rarer. They went up against two of the three debates.
Right.
So I do remember that.
Yeah.
Are these ratings taking into account streaming? I mean, I saw an article in the Wall Street Journal that they are not.
They're not, and that's definitely a problem because that's how a lot of fans are now getting the games. They're getting them on their mobile phones and on their iPads. I think that the anthem issue definitely didn't help, but the saturation of oversaturation of the product is a big problem. The Thursday night football games have been awful this year. There's so many injuries. There's so many marquee players that are out. So you put all of these into the mix, and they're all issues, and they all are depressing the ratings.
Well, I do have to, Don Van Natta, point out there was a 41-39 Rams 49ers game on Thursday Night Football that Carson Wentz beat Cam Newton on Thursday Night Football. They weren't all awful.
You're right.
Just got to point that out.
There was one or two that were okay.
I do say, and I say from this microphone in this seat, that the oversaturation is a problem.
The Rich Eisen Show, weekdays at noon Eastern on Audience.